Good day. Welcome to the Cory Morgan Show. As you can see over my shoulder, we've got somebody else in the new guy chair there. That's Jackson Loy. So keep an eye. Let's see. He's biting his nails or something. He hasn't eaten any noodles or anything yet, but everybody gets their introduction to the Western Standard getting to sit behind me for one of these shows. So as you can see, for Jackson and you guys, it is a live show. Be sure you use that comment, scroll, send your ideas, thoughts my way. Just keep civil and try not to get on each other's case too badly. We can save that for X. I've got, for a return guest, I guess you could say, we'll get it together this time, Mitch Sylvester from Stay Free Alberta on the petition for a referendum in Alberta. It's been busy, going wild. I mean, the town halls have just been overflowing. I've been going to them, but it's kind of strange. They've switched. It's no longer APP now. It's Stay Free, and you've got to petition in certain areas and things. So we'll go over a bit of that. All right, well, let's get on something I've been looking forward to talking about, but I had to wait till the deadlines approached. And that's direct democracy in Alberta and the recall legislation. So in the background, enraged over the back to work order imposed on striking Alberta teachers, and they were emboldened by the success of Thomas Lukasik's petition about nothing. Union activists felt they could capitalize on the ire and use Alberta's recall legislation to overthrow the UCP government. And I mean, in theory, it could be done. Daniel Smith's party only holds a narrow majority, actually, and if as many as 5 seats were fully flipped over the NDP in a head and inch, he would become the premier with a majority government. So they began with the lowest hanging fruit. They went after Calgary Bow MLA Dimitrios Nicolaides. Now, the choice made sense. Nicolaides is the Alberta education minister, and he won the constituency by only a little more than 600 votes in the last election. So if a by-election were held in Calgary Bow, there'd be a chance that they could swing that to the NDP. Now, legacy media and establishment pundits, they were overjoyed with this development. They report on the initiation of the recall process against Nicolaides as if it was a true uprising of Alberta voters. They laughed at how Daniel Smith's own recall legislation was being turned upon one of their own members. Some speculated it might be the beginning of the end of the UCP government. Then the recall applications, they spread further. Every few days, legacy media jubilantly reported that Elections Alberta had approved another recall initiative against the UCP MLA. Soon, 26 recall initiatives had been approved, representing nearly 30% of the seats in the legislature. Legacy media's hushed tones implying a government overthrow were becoming shouts from the rooftops. Surely Daniel Smith's government is going to be humiliated, hoisted by its own petard. Political scientists speculated Alberta would be heading to a spring election, so Smith could avoid being brought down by all these recall initiatives. Oh boy, yeah, they were really worked up. And then when UCP Minister Rebecca Schulz resigned from cabinet, headlines ensured to note that Schulz was one of the MLAs facing a recall initiative. Was she fleeing before the recall could happen? The deadline for the first recall is now less than a week away, and reality's come home to roost. The prime activist organizing a recall against Dimitrios Nicolaides was forced to admit that with months to work at it, she's only garnered 6,000 signatures on her petition. That leaves her 10,000 short of the number required to trigger a recall. With this kind of petition, there's usually about a 10% error rate in the signatures too. So her initiative is more likely closer to 11,600 signatures short of the mark. It didn't even come close to making it. Nicolaides' political career may face many challenges, but being recalled isn't one of them right now. So why, though, was it impossible for the petitioner to get 16,000 signatures in one constituency when Lukasik managed to get 400,000 of them across the province? Well, it's because recall legislation is written to ensure the initiative must remain local. Petitioners have to be registered, and they got to live within the constituency. Outside money and workers can't be used on a recall initiative. Lukasik was able to utilize, union and activist groups and concentrate his petitioning efforts in an area of strong support. The activists targeting Nicolaides have to use local resources, and they have to get only local people signing, and she clearly couldn't gather enough of them. Real petitioning is tough work. Anybody can make an online petition that can garner thousands of signatures in a short time, but to get real physical signatures in person with a name, address, phone number, gathered by a registered petitioner is a whole different story. A hardworking petitioner working on an 8-hour day might get 100 signatures. To get 16,000 or more takes a large organization with a motivated electorate. And neither of those existed in Calgary Bow, and it doesn't exist in any other constituencies. Look, all it takes to start an initiative is $500 in an application form to Elections Alberta, and that's the easiest part. That's why 26 of them were set off. The petitioning part, though, has stopped the initiatives in their tracks. The rest of the initiatives are in areas with even stronger support for the UCP than Calgary Bow. One of them is against Daniel Smith and Brooks Medicine Hat, where she won with 66% of the vote. Another's in Highwood, where the UCP candidate won with 69% of the vote. These initiatives are dead in the water. In a way, it's good that Alberta's unions put the recall legislation to the test like this. They prove that the bar is set high enough to stop frivolous recall efforts and the abuses of the system, but it's not set so high that it's impossible to initiate one. But it'll only have success in the most exceptional of circumstances, and that's what it was supposed to be there for. A local MLA will have had to have breached public trust so badly that a large majority of local electors feel they can't wait until the next election to fire their representative. And a lot of MLAs have ticked people off, but they haven't reached that bar yet, and the electoral cycle will take care of it, I guess, in a year and a half from now. Union temper tantrums aren't going to cut it. The upcoming year is going to be a historic one. We got petitioning to invoke an independence referendum. It's almost sure to be successful. And not necessarily the referendum, but the petitioning for the recall referendum anyways. So it's time to turn the page on the recall stunt. Pay close attention to real direct democracy in action, though, and it's sweeping the province right now. All right. Well, that's what's got me going right now. How's it going, Dave?
Cory, my friend, you have my deepest sympathies.
I figured you were going to want to go on about this. Let's get it out.
Well, you guys lost your 7th straight playoff game.
Yes.
7 straight, 0-7. Not a good record.
And for those who don't watch regular, yes, I'm a Steelers fan. Still a Steelers fan. Disappointed Steelers fan.
And you had to stay up till 2 a.m. to watch the game.
Yes, because I had been at a speaking event up in Bentley, and the game was on. So I, for a change, people might have noticed a gap of 5 hours of me nowhere on Twitter or anywhere on social media because I didn't want to find out the score. So I sat up that late to replay the game and see them mutilated at 30-6.
Ouch. Ouch. Well, I have offered you a chance to jump on the Seahawks bandwagon, and you turned me down.
I'm afraid. So that was a family commitment thing. I would lean that way, but my daughter's a 49ers fan, so I've got to cheer for the 49ers.
Okay, well, maybe next week after we thrash the 49ers.
We'll see at that point. Then I'll stay to the West. I'll promise that.
What are we going to do about Jackson's mustache? I mean, that's cheesy, right?
Yeah, it's that youthful porn stash. We're seeing more of those going around. That look, it's kind of in, I guess.
Maybe I'll have a chat with him after we're done.
Little caterpillar on there. Yeah.
So, lots going on in the news this morning. Cory, we've got more details on that horrible attack on that woman in Edgemont in Calgary. She was showing her house off to a possible tenant, and he attacked her and tried to strangle her to death. And it's a miracle this woman is alive, and she fought back and was able to kill her attacker. And Calgary police say it's the most blatant case, the most obvious case of self-defense that they've ever seen. We're all on tenterhooks for Iran, waiting for Donald Trump to press the button. U.S. bases in Qatar are evacuating personnel, so it looks like something will happen. And it's also a race to save the life of that the guy who's become the face of the rebels, who's due to be hung at some point today. Francois Legault resigned as Premier of Quebec today. His party is doing terribly in the polls and would have been wiped out. And they're going to get a new leader in before the fall election. Interesting, you'll find this one interesting, Cory. The government has been ordered to release all the files into the Kamloops residential school alleged graves. You remember when the First Nation made that allegation, they got $12 million. One of the things they had to do was report on the progress that they were making. And the government has so far refused to hold it. They refused to release it. And the information commissioner came out today and ordered it to be released. And Canada's former, this is not a good portion of Canada's history when we fled from Afghanistan and left people behind. The former ambassador there has admitted for the first time it was a bit of a mess up. And David Duckworth, Calgary's top civil servant, is keeping his job. There were some media columnists who were demanding that he be fired and thought that it would happen, and it didn't happen. He has survived. So he gets to stay on and lead us through our water woes.
Well, yeah, it's interesting. I mean, Mike Thomas there is watching everything City Hall and covering it excellently as usual. I mean, we thought this would be the first time finally somebody senior in City Hall in the administration is boy, they've got a stranglehold on the elected.
No,
I don't know what it'll take.
There's just no accountability at all. If this doesn't get someone fired, nothing will.
No. Again, I took the wrong career path.
I know.
Should have been a federal or any level of civil
400 and some grand a year, and probably more pensions than you can count.
Well, what was it Duckworth said that he had to get mental health counseling
right,
for
his
the
staff.
poor little ducklings under him when the report was released because it was saying naughty things about.
It was a scathing report by an independent group, and before he sent it out to his staff, Duckworth had crisis counselors on hold.
Oh, a bunch of wimps.
It's ridiculous. I mean, these people have tried to work a day in the real world, and where you get real ramifications, they just wouldn't last.
Well, I mean, I still hold optimism with Jeremy Farkas. He's an interesting one in there. To be fair, he's not really hard to the right or left. He just kind of goes with what he is. He's a smart guy, and we'll see what happens in Calgary City Hall. It sure needs a change.
Something needs to happen, yeah.
Right on. Well, I'll let you get back to your newsroom covering all that. Growing your playoff beard.
Playoff beard. Not shaving until Seattle wins the Super Bowl.
Well,
hopefully it's this year.
I hope so. Yeah. You'll be rubbing it in for our gentleman who has difficulty with facial hair.
So I'm going to go talk to him about his mustache right now.
All right. Thanks, Dave.
You bet, Cory.
All right. That is our news editor, Dave Naylor. And yes, I mean, look, stories all over the place. I mean, from international, things in Iran going on to locally in Calgary where, the water lines are falling apart yet again and everything else in between. And new reporters, as you can see in the background. The reason we can do that is because you guys subscribe. So I got to remind you, get on there, guys. westernstandard.news/subscription. Take one out. It's $10 a month, $100 for a year. And you get past that paywall. You can get to everything, get these stories as we're writing them, and it helps support us so we can keep getting those reporters spreading out. We've got Jeremy Borg out in Toronto. We've got Jared out on the West Coast. We got people all across this country. So, again, thank you if you've subscribed already. And if you haven't yet, it's about time. Let's see what we got. Some of the things in comments. Either way, plenty going on out there. Hopefully we're going to have Mitch in pretty soon in a couple of minutes here. He's going to be talking about the independence movement. So the referendum campaign in Alberta, well, the referendum itself isn't going yet. So what's going on is there's so much confusion, and that's what I'm looking forward to Mitch clarifying a bunch of stuff on. So what's got to happen? I'll kind of give those steps. They need over 177,000 signatures on a petition, real signatures, like I was talking about earlier with direct democracy. Has to be physical, has to be with an accredited petitioner there who registers with Elections Alberta, not just somebody picking up a clipboard and going to the door. And they got 4 months to do it. And as I said, about 10% of those will get thrown out. Now, this group, the Independence Bunch, APP, which now is Stay Free Alberta is the group doing it. Mitch will explain why that had changed. They're just going great. I mean, they've been organizing for years. They've been getting people ready to sign. So I attended a couple meetings, one last weekend in Calgary, in South Calgary, and another one up in Bentley. And we've been seeing the reports from Fort McMurray, Innisfail, Bicyker, Lincoln Hall, just all these different ones, Millet. The same thing is happening at each and every one of them. They are just overwhelmed with supporters. They're just coming out in droves. People lined up literally in Queensland down the road for blocks wanting to sign the petition. And there was never a seat to be held for the speaking part. A lot of people at both events I went to, likewise in Bentley, I was speaking. There was maybe a couple hundred people in the hall I was speaking to, but in the back, there was just an endless line of people coming and going, signing these petitions. And this is just the first couple of weeks. These guys have got months going on. There's really something happening, is the best way to put it. Something special, something unusual. I just want to put a note out to, it looks like a commenter, James Tower, threw $7 at us. Yeah, thank you. One of those things on YouTube, you can kind of toss a few dollars in to help and get some comments up there and things like that. So thank you very much, James. Every bit helps us with independent media. I mean, contrary to what some people might think, we aren't all actually all that rich and everything. So I appreciate that super chat going on there. So will we reach the timeline for this petitioning and the rest? I mean, I'll just carry on with that. 4 months of that. It's going to finish sometime in early May. Probably would take Elections Alberta a month perhaps to process that stuff and get it up there so that it can be approved, presumably. And then the referendum would be held, I'm guessing, October. That'd be my thought. So 9 months of solid independence talk going on in Alberta, of reevaluating what our place is in the Federation. You know, polls have been coming out, different ones. It's been interesting to see that. And there's one group saying that this polling group saying there's 17% support for independence. That's what they're claiming it at. And another one, and these are both large pollsters, and the other one is saying 31%. So that's a rather big discrepancy. You know, there's always going to be a little difference between pollsters and polls and things like that. But a spread by that much is pretty outstanding. So what's going on out there? I mean, it makes it hard to trust the polls. It really does. But most of them have stayed around 30% for the most part in the last year, and some, especially since the last federal election, really brought people into realizing the futility of trying to change things within the Federation. So I figure it's probably still around 30. That's a long way from the 60, I think, that really needs to happen. And my guess would be that there's 30% that never are going to go for independence. They're just never. I mean, that's fine. It's a big leap. You know, you're never going to get. It would have to get incredibly bad before we're looking at 80 or 90% support. But 60, I think, is very possible. But it really depends on two things. One is, how are the campaigners doing over the course of this next 6-7 months, and of course, what the federal government does to inflame people further within the province, and bring about that support. So some's beyond our control, some's within it. Let's see, what's this from James, a commenter? What's this about sanctioned venues for signatures? I thought as long as you have an Elections Alberta badge, you could be a canvasser and collect signatures pretty much anywhere. Yes, there's some of the things I was really hoping Mitch would show up for, and hopefully we'll get him very soon to clarify on. So let me tell you about how it works with official petitioning. I've signed up to be one, just as an Albertan. I'm not a member of any group or anything else, but still as an Albertan in it. It all has to run through Stay Free Alberta. That's the proponent. That's the one who filed to get a referendum going. So when you get involved in this, if you want to petition, you have to sign an NDA. Some people were, and that's a non-disclosure agreement. They were all upset about that. What's this about? I won't have to sign it. Look, what'll happen is you're going to get a bunch of people's personal information. You're asking them to sign a petition to give their name, address, phone number, and all that. They don't want to suddenly find out that they were on a bunch of mailing lists, or that their employer found out that they signed something if their employer not. That's all that's about. It's just saying, when you take those signatures, they will only be used for the point of the referendum, nothing else. And then that you go through, and I'm going to be going through a Zoom meeting with a training session. So they're going to go over some things with me and every other person who signs, just to be sure you know exactly what you got to do. I mean, there's a mistake that gets made a lot. People get post office boxes on the signatures, for example, rather than a residential address. You can't use that. You must have it. So I'm going in a long way here to explain what's going on. So Jeffrey Rath, I really didn't want to get into him much. He's one of the larger, in a number of ways, proponents of the independence movement. And he's been very involved for a long time. And he's done a lot of really good work for it. He really has. He's brought it a long ways to where it is. But he's very outspoken on social media. And he put out a tweet about events that Jason Levine, who's another independent media person, and he pulls people together and does things. He's holding traveling meetings in bars just to talk about independence. And Rath got very upset with it because he likes to keep everything around Rath. So he put out a large tweet this morning saying, this is unsanctioned meetings and you can't sign at these things, essentially, or things like that, and caused a lot of confusion with people. Well, can I sign there? Can I not sign there? What's going on? Okay. Anybody can hold a meeting. I mean, you can't hold a meeting claiming you're with Stay Free Alberta if you're not, and they weren't. Nobody has been, aside from Stay Free Alberta, claiming to be Stay Free Alberta. Anybody with, as James is asking, with their badge can be a canvasser and collect signatures when you've been properly registered. You can go door to door. You can have a little coffee meeting in your area. You can do all of these things. What we don't want, though, of course, is anybody misrepresenting. Nobody would want to be, saying they can collect signatures when they can't, or collect. There's a lot of worries. We saw some online people talking, saying that they're going to sabotage this by registering as canvassers and then falsely garnering signatures and then just throwing them away and things like that. It could happen, but how many? How much? I mean, look at the trouble. And I know there's a lot of nuts who'll get a lot of trouble out there. Look at the trouble they would have to go through. You'd have to sign up, put your personal information in, your ID, pretend, get all the way through the process, become accredited, get your badge. Then you're going to have to take your own time going around door to door or whatever you're doing, getting all these signatures to throw away. How many are you going to get? A couple hundred? We're talking about a movement that's dealing in the hundreds of thousands of signatures. So any nutcase who's really going to go to that much difficulty to sabotage it, the impact is going to be negligible, to say the least. So either way, this is how it works. And if you're signing a petition, I guess I'll get that out there. If somebody's bringing one to you, they will have a badge. It's embossed, it's stamped, it's an Elections Alberta badge. It's not something you can make easily at home or something like that. They've been accredited to be able to garner these things and speak on behalf of that. So it's kind of a little incumbent on you if you're worried about how somebody disingenuously petitioning. Well, make sure, ask for it. If they aren't showing it, then certainly they should have those credentials with them while they're at it. So, okay, great. I think I see Mitch in the lobby there. He's adjusting. I know he did say he has to come in from his truck because he is running all over the place. This man is tireless, hitting meetings and speaking and doing all this stuff. So I want to bring him in because I've been turning your ear for long enough. There we go. I mean, you hear me all right there, Mitch? So we see Mitch anyways. Hopefully he can hear me. Maybe not. All right. Well, we might come back to Mitch in a couple of moments. Maybe the coverage is a little bit limited there. So, I mean, getting further with, I'll talk about what I've been seeing and what Mitch is doing. As you can see, he's dressed. He's in the truck. I'm only guessing he's going to another meeting when he's dressed up like that. And this is what people are really enjoying. This is something that's been unique. This is how they've really built this base that now is exploding today, because the meetings they're holding now are just built upon from dozens and dozens. And now I think cumulatively hundreds of meetings they've held over the last few years. And it's come to a head, and now they're pulling it together. And of course, with that organization, they are just overflowing the halls. People are coming out in droves. And the thing that was also astounding in going out to those meetings wasn't just people wanting to come to sign the petitions, but people coming wanting to volunteer. They wanted to sign up. They wanted to get out there and do the petitioning themselves. This is really outstanding. I have never seen anything like this. I mean, I've been messing around, pushing for the independence movement for a long time, and something really unique is happening. Maybe we'll see if we can get Mitch one more time on audio and see if perhaps he's in a spot where we can pull it in. Hello, Mitch. Have you got us at all? No,
Hey, Cory, can you hear me?
Oh, there, I got you. I heard your voice there, Mitch. Finally.
Yes, can you hear me?
Yeah, I'm hearing you now.
Can you? Shit.
Okay, we'll put Mitch back on.
Okay, can you hear me now?
I'm hearing you, Mitch.
Perfect.
Yes,
how are you?
Good. Sounds like there's a little bit of a delay. So I've been rambling away. I know you're on the move, so it's hard to get to a spot to get good coverage. I guess I'll start with the first question, though. I just wanted to ask, because that's where a lot of people are wondering what's going on. What's Stay Free Alberta? Why is this a new organization rather than what they've been accustomed to all this time and getting ready for the independence referendum? I'm afraid we've lost Mitch. Okay. Well, I'll go into that. One of these days we'll get Mitch in to get it working right. It's the technical issues. These guys work on the ground rather than digitally, which is again part of their strength in a lot of ways, where they can do face-to-face meetings, but not so much on the tech end of things. So Stay Free Alberta. If you're looking to get involved with this, I'll get that out there. stayfreealberta.com, or as others, sometimes jokingly or whatnot, talk about it. It's a feminine product. People are making fun of it. So what happened with the Alberta Prosperity Project? It's still there. It's still got its databasing. It's where all of this began. I guess with the election, the referendum legislation, it has to be an individual initiating it, not a group, something of that sort. I was hoping Mitch could expand on that. And so they couldn't use the APP to actually initiate this thing. So the proponent himself, if you look it up on the paperwork, is Mitch Silvestre, and the group is stayfreealberta.com. So it's the same thing. It's just different branding. They're working to get this sort of thing all registered properly. Looks a little more clear there. I see Mitch in the lobby. We'll give it one more try and see if we can get him. And okay, are you hearing me now there, Mitch? All right, no, that's not going to work. Okay, so I mean, as you know, guys, yes, the show really is live, and it comes with most challenges. It'll come with a live show and everything. So all I can say is I suggest strongly, guys, go to stayfreealberta.com, check it out, and you know, you can get more details and straight up stuff on how to support this, and hopefully, you know, well, we'll see how the petitioning comes about. I'm not going to be able to make it. There's a big event coming in Calgary at the BMO Center on January 26th. So for the Calgarian viewers, January 26th, we want to see thousands of people there. I mean, and again, I'm not saying we in the sense that I'm part of that group. I'm not, but I'm very supportive of it. I'm a guest speaker often for them, but I'm an independent supporter, that's for sure. And this is the way to stop. They can't stop us. You know, legacy media has been ignoring this. There's meetings with thousands of people showing up all over the place. You're not seeing it in the news. You're not hearing about it. They're not touching it. When thousands show up in Calgary, it's going to be hard to avoid. I was talking to Jane the other day. For people who knowing their Western independence history, there's a kind of a famous picture in Alberta with the Western Canada concept, and Doug Christie was leading it. And he's standing there with his hands up like that. And I believe it was the Jubilee Auditorium in Calgary, which holds like maybe 3,000 people. And that was a picture that went all the way across the country. And that was the last really hard, big peak of independence movements going on in Canada, particularly in the West. And what we're talking about now at the BMO Center could be 2 to 3 times as many people just to catch their attention. I see, sorry, our producer, John, messaging saying, I want to try calling Mitch on the phone. Maybe give it a crack if you can get him clearly on there. We might bring Mitch in just through audio on the phone because I really, really want to talk to him. So as I said, I won't be making it out to that gathering coming up, because I will be actually popping out of town, as was mentioned in a different interview I did. Taking my vacation for a little bit. I'll still be online and doing some stuff, but I won't be able to get out to that itself. All right.
Hello.
All right. I hear Mitch on the phone. Are you hearing me there, Mitch?
I hear you perfectly, and I can see you.
Okay.
And I can see myself. I don't understand how this is not working, but let's do it this way.
Yeah. Okay. Well, we got you, and I can hear you good now. If we'll just do it through the phone with just audio, that's perfect. So thank you very much. We've got you at a roadside there, Mitch. Welcome to the show.
Well, thank you very much for having me.
Great. So I've been kind of stumbling along. I think I know most of the basics, but I wanted to get right to the source and ask you, because people are still kind of a little confused and wondering what's up. They want to support things and get rolling. What's up with Stay Free Alberta?
Okay, so you know what? It's basically, we've kind of basically thought that Monday of next week, everything would be 100% flat out. We'd have canvassers everywhere. We'd have sign-up sheets for everybody. So you know what? That's going to happen. Mm-hmm. We really believe that we're going to have all manner of locations all around the province for people to sign up in place and up on our stayfreealberta.com website. So you can find it there. So, you know what, another couple, 3 days and we'll be flat out. And, you know, we've been trying to lay basically the structure for this so that once we get going, we can take all manner of signatures and and drive it forward without any further delays.
Yeah, well, and we should remind a lot of people. I know everybody's eager and there's a bit of impatience and everything, but it kind of caught you flat-footed when suddenly they said, "Hey, January 2nd, finally, here we go, off to the races." And you know, it takes a little time to get thousands of volunteers organized and moving. And I guess we got to remind people we want to move fast, but there are a few months to work on this. There's going to be time to get out there and get your name down.
Well, we've got till May 6th, and the other thing that people have to understand is that they kind of sprung that on us at Christmas, like the day before they closed. And so what's happening is our people have had the anticipation and all of that building since then, but they didn't come back to work till Monday of last week. So we've only actually been working with them for 4 or 5 days and just getting clarity on what we actually can and cannot do, you know, according to Bill 14's new rules to the Citizens Initiative Act. Stuff that we had to get clear before, you know, because the fines are massive. Like if we break the rules, some of these fines are $500,000 to $1 million. So we want to be darn sure that, you know, being the proponent, that I don't have to pay $1 million bill or a $500,000 bill.
No, I understand your commitment to this, but that'd be going a little above and beyond. Part of it as well is, I mean, I would imagine if they thought there was too much untoward, they could reject the petition or parts of or so on. So, I mean, it's very important to keep everything above board and following the rules laid out.
And we got answers from them yesterday. So basically we're able to, you know, clear up some of the things that we can do and cannot do. So in all fairness to them, they got back to us. We got an answer yesterday. So right now the path is clear. We understand what we can do, what we cannot do. And, you know, I'm going to Eckville right now. I'll be there tonight. We have another event in Red Deer tonight as well. So we're going to be at both of those events. I'll be somewhere Friday as well. And then next week we go flat out and we get going. And I heard your comments at the introduction saying that our town halls have basically driven this. And I 100% agree with you.
Oh, yeah.
This is going to be my 96th or 97th town hall on this particular topic tonight. And we did 100 Alberta pension town halls before that. So, you know what, we've basically done 190 to 95 town halls in the last 2 years. So we've been busy. But as a consequence to that, what I believe we've done is we've built a base. And we're seeing it all over the place. That base is showing up, and it's just fantastic to see what's going on. It's exciting.
Well, that's it. You're almost a victim of your own success because you built such a base and then everybody's ready to roll and then it all hits at the same time as soon as it got rolling. So it's going to take a little bit to streamline everything.
Yeah. And don't worry. We'll have lots of work for everybody.
Oh, I know you will. And
there's no problem. Monday till the 6th of May, it's going to be flat out.
Yeah. So with the legislation, I just wanted a little more clarity. And I see a couple of the commenters asking the same thing. There's still just a bit of confusion from the last organization to stayfreealberta.com. Just why are you the proponent, not the last organization? And where should people be directing their efforts and so on?
So everything has to go through stayfreealberta.com. Right? So Alberta Prosperity is an educational society. They can't weigh in on picking a side on this. And, you know, quite frankly, we only have one side. So, I mean, we have to be very careful. We're as partisan as it gets. We're very nonpartisan in our message, we think.
Yeah.
Because we think that this is going to benefit all of Alberta. However, our problem right now is that we have to make sure that we stay within the rules of Elections Alberta. And that's why we're waiting for clarity. But now we've built the structure from the bottom up. We're basically going to involve all of our volunteers now. The point of getting the volunteers was to get into this point and then putting them all to work.
Great.
That was the point of the whole.
Yeah, no, and I just wanted people to hear from the horse's mouth because they get worried when things change or whatever else. Okay, guys, Stay Free Alberta is the place to go. This is where Mitch is. Yeah. This is where the official referendum and signups and meetings and everything can be found. That's the place.
And this is where our volunteers are working.
Mm-hmm.
All right. This is where our volunteers are working. And we're taking more volunteers all the time. So please sign up to be a canvasser. That's what we need you to do. Sign friends and family. If everybody does that, we win.
So, I mean, kind of looking a little ahead. So, I mean, there's the big first step to go is getting the signatures, getting the petition done, getting the referendum called. Presumably, you know, maybe in June or whenever, when they finally say, okay, that's it. The numbers are in. We're ready to roll. We're scheduling a date. would it still be Stay Free Alberta that's going to be the campaigning mechanism, I guess, when it comes towards a referendum?
No, it's going to go back to Alberta Prosperity Project, I believe.
Okay.
You know, and whoever, and that's going to be a total. The campaign is totally separate from this.
Yeah.
So Stay Free is basically going to collect the signatures, get it to referendum, or drop it on the Premier's desk or Elections Alberta's desk, and hopefully have big enough numbers to force them to that there's no choice for them to call a referendum for independence with a standalone question.
Well, and I'm pretty confident you guys are going to do it, but still nothing can be taken for granted. And it's still a huge task to be undertaken. So I'm really appreciate you guys hitting the ground running. As you said, you're going to Red Deer. I saw one of the commenters saying they're going to be coming up there. Somebody else asking, are we able to sign right up to May 6th?
Yeah. Oh yeah. We'll be able to sign. Well, we have to have the petition in there a day or two in advance. So I would suggest, you know what, let's do a hard cap on May 1 so that we can organize all of our signatures and get them, you know, basically in the truck and accounted for before we get to Elections Alberta with that. So I would say May 1, May 2, somewhere there, whatever. I don't know what the calendar looks like around those dates, but probably the last Friday of the week before we have to give all that stuff or send out all that stuff to Elections Alberta will be the cutoff on when we can take signatures.
Yeah.
So I'm going to be in Eckville tonight, not Red Deer, but Stay Free has a Red Deer event tonight as well.
Excellent. Okay. And I mean, again, reminding people, I mean, just because the deadline's that far, the sooner somebody gets rolling on it, the better. I mean, we want to get it in so you guys can file that, get it finished, and keep reaching out to new people. So,
yeah, we'd like to get this done in the next month.
Yeah.
Like really. So that would give us 3 months more to get more people.
Well, absolutely.
You know, get the minimum done right away, which I know we can do, and which we're going to do and trying to do, and then after that, just try and educate people on the benefits of free and independent Alberta.
Excellent. Well, I think you covered most of what I just kind of wanted to hit on. I mean, I would suggest for a lot of people, watch a lot of those meetings are being live streamed. Or if they can get out to one themselves, get out to one, definitely get on and sign up if you want to volunteer. So before I let you go, what else do you want to let people know before I let you get back on the road up to Eckville there?
Well, you know what? I want you to all understand that this is not going to get done without you. We're an absolute grassroots movement. I think the purest definition of it. And we've kind of been forced to do that based on the fact of what's going on with media and what's going on in the world. So we're kind of back to the old ways of neighbors talking to neighbors and friends talking to friends. And so as a consequence to that, we need everybody to work. But I really believe we can win this that way. And that's kind of been the path the whole way. So we're going to make sure that we get as much social media or all that manner of stuff out there. But the real work is going to be done by each and every individual. And that's the way it's designed. We've been going through this process now for a long time, for basically 2 years. And everybody says to me, well, when are we going to get a real strong leader or a real strong voice for this? And I said, you don't understand. This is about the people. That leader will come and go. The people will have to do it themselves. And once they understand that once they participate in a democracy, then we will be very hard to unseat. Not only will we win, but then we'll pay attention to what's going on, and we'll be so much better off for it in the long run. So I believe that's the path. That's my vision. And hopefully you'll all agree with that and participate.
Excellent. Well, you said it perfectly, Mitch, and I fully agree. You can't beat facing somebody face-to-face and talking to them one-on-one. Social media is a great tool, but winning hearts and minds takes talking to somebody in person, and that's what you guys have built your model around. So thank you. I'll let you get back on the road. I appreciate your time today. Hopefully, perhaps we'll talk again sometime a little farther down when the referendum is getting closer to wrapping up, or the petitioning, and we'll report on your success.
Be happy to do that, Cory. Thanks for having me.
Excellent. Thank you. Okay, guys, so one more time, stayfreealberta.com. That's Mitch Silvestre. And yeah, it's you know, everything's been changing on the dime. I saw somebody else pointing out saying that they'd signed up to volunteer last Monday. When will they get their credentials? All I can say is probably soon. You got to remember, they have been swamped. People are coming out in droves. They want to help. They want to take part. But all of that has to be carefully, taken care of and so on. So that information will get up to them and out to you. Another person to call in had said he donated to the APP. Was it the wrong place or anything? I wouldn't say that. As Mitch pointed out, the APP is still there. It's still important. It'll still be a huge part of the campaign for the referendum. So donation, nothing there has been wasted. And the APP was a whole big part of what built the base on why now this prairie fire of overloaded meetings is sweeping across the province. So just keep watching, because their website's going to get more and more efficient. It's going to get more streamlined as these guys scramble to get it done. When I did the Calgary meeting, John Bolton was speaking of Chipiuk and Dennis Kalma, and it was a really great thing, and it was overloaded. Heather was a volunteer there. Jeevan was a volunteer there. They were just overwhelmed. There was just only so much you can do when thousands of people descend on you unexpectedly. So all I could ask is give them some patience, and it will come through, and they want your help, and they'll certainly welcome your help. But, being done from the bottom up, it really is so much stronger. That's how something like this can't be derailed, because it's too difficult. And when we're talking about leaders and such, I see others asking about that, necessarily. At this point it's decentralized, but it gives fewer targets, I guess, for the whole thing, to be taken down. It's the people. Steve of Alberta saying, I was wondering about this. Can it be handed in earlier in 120 days? Say it's 500,000 signatures by day 90. I don't know. I don't know if they let it run right to the deadline. My view on it, and I'm not speaking for them, but my thoughts on it as far as campaigning goes, I think they should run it right to the end and collect signatures every day as if you're 1,000 signatures behind the whole time. Get every possible one all the way through. And because this is the basis of the campaign for the votes anyways. This is, the people who were volunteering to petition right now are presumably going to be the same people volunteering to campaign when the referendum comes. What a great organizational opportunity. This is the time to come together. This is the time to practice. This is the time to reach out. So even if it turns out you go the whole 4 months and you came in with 1 million, well, wouldn't that be awesome? That'll be pretty hard to stop, won't it? And you'll have had that network of all these people working on the ground and pulling it together. We're making history right now. And yes, I know I'm biased, not necessarily for any individual group or anything else, but I'm an independent supporter, and I have been for a long, long time. And all I can say is, talking, as I was saying earlier, back all the way to Doug Christie and the Western Canada concept in the mid 80s to today, I've never seen it like this. Never anything even close. History is being made. A referendum is going to be held, whether or not it's won or not. That's still way up in the air, but it's going to be held. We've never even done that before. Some people had better start sitting up and paying attention. We'll see. All right, just a couple stories I wanted to hit on the end. I mean, some good news from a tragedy. Dave mentioned that earlier, that horrible story some people are hearing. 48-year-old Shabazz Ahmed lured a 30-year-old woman to a home in the community of Edgemont. He was pretending to rent a place. He assaulted her brutally. She got broken bones, scratches. I can't imagine, because the cops, as Dave said, it was the most clear-cut case of self-defense they'd ever dealt with. So yes, he died. And I'm not going to weep for him. Good riddance. He died. She defended herself and killed him somehow. There's not been details exactly how that happened after she took such a terrible beating. But for a change, because, in Canada and Alberta, it just seems usually they charge the person defending themselves. One time they got it right. I hope she really recovers, fully as much as she can. I can't imagine the terror and the trauma and the rest that's going on. But in a sense, it's a good news story that some sick, violent murderer is now no longer on this planet. And the goofballs in our, and in this case, they weren't being goofballs. Our law enforcement authorities said, no, we are definitely not going to charge her for defending ourselves. So let's expand that further. I want to see castle laws in a great deal more than that. But that was one story that has really made a lot of news for people and realizing. Now there's bigger issues as to why we've got crime issues going on in general. Coastal First Nations, Mark Carney talking, speaking of why we've got to become independent. Coastal First Nations is a lobby group. In fact, they're foreign funded, but the news media, the CBC and Carney talk as if these are actually elected Indigenous bands, and they aren't. Carney met with this lobby group on a pipeline to the West Coast, and two things happened. For one, this lobby group said, we're not allowing a pipeline to the West Coast. They have no authority to disallow it whatsoever. Carney said, I won't put a pipeline to the West Coast if they don't give approval. So even if they don't have the authority, if the prime minister gives it to them. So guys, if you're waiting, thinking the federal government is ever going to do the West any favors, as long as you're giving false authority to foreign funded lobby groups like the Coastal First Nations, it isn't happening. That's why I'm an independent supporter. All right, I'm going to close out Watch the Pipeline tonight. I'm going to have a guest host in next week. Like I said, I'm escaping for a little while, and then I'm going to be doing some shows from out in the field. Actually, it's going to be pretty fun. So keep tuning in, guys. Thank you very much for tuning in today. Thanks for the comments. Thanks for that super chat. We do appreciate that as well. And we will, well, I'll see you all in 2 weeks. Tune in next week, though, to catch our guest host. That'll be a fun, good show. And be sure to subscribe to The Standard. Thank you.